Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question, I guess somewhere between, more like a comment than a question. Makes up a lot of really good thoughts here. And this question came in on a blog when, about, not the blog, but the daily lesson about hitting knockdowns. And Keith Kent says, even though I'm a committed Surgeite, I still do search YouTube and the net for video clips, and once you do it, it is surprising what good stuff you can come across. I have a great hunger to learn, and am someone who does a heck of a lot of research and gets in deep when I put my mind to something. I went over to the dark side when I saw this post to have a look at some of the golf sins, or whatever they call them, were interesting. I find most golf instruction is very similar in that they all have something different which they claim as their own, but the basics should be all the same. Just because you don't want to swing with the big turn doesn't mean that you won't find something useful where else that or something else that would help. That was followed up by a comment from Craig63, and I guess he also calls himself the Polar Bear. And Craig says, I'm with you, Keith, on this. Sometimes you get to smell a nice rose among the BS. I guess the challenge then is to be able to distinguish between the flowers and the BS. Great comment. Yes, I think that there's nothing wrong with going out there and doing some research and seeing what other people have to say about things, because in some cases you might find that it gives you, number one, clarification and proof that what you're already working on here at swingsurgeon.com with the vertical, the limited turn 3/4 backswing vertical club at the top is absolutely the correct way to do it. And so in many cases, knowing what you want to do as well as what you don't want to do emphasizes exactly the positive of what you want, so that when you go out there you don't have any more doubts. You have nothing but confidence and assurance that you know what you're doing is correct. And in the end, what's the best result that proves all of that? The results. If you can hit it more solid straight, much more consistently with a setup and a swing than any other way, I think that definitely is the proof positive, or as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. All right? And so we're all looking for what? The number one thing that the question that I get, or the answer I get when I ask the question, why are you here for this lesson? What are you looking for? When we do a questionnaire at golf schools, and you know, what do you want to get out of this school, or what do you want to get out of this lesson? 99% of the time, it's some form of the word consistent. I want to be more consistent. I want to get more consistent. I want to hit the ball more consistently, and things of that sort. And so all we want to do is be more consistent, because consistent means what? It's obvious that you're gaining an ability to make the same swing over and over and hit the same shot, and that's what we're looking for. Consistency means that you are learning and mastering the swing you're trying to learn, and become a master of it, so you can become what? Consistent. So I have no problem going there, but ultimately the key is, as I've always said, when you're reading magazines, golf instruction magazines, if you still even read them, and if you're especially, I think the place where we get bombarded most off is watching the Golf Channel, and especially watching the golf tournaments on TV, where many of the announcers are former tour players and whatever, and they get in there and they start talking about the golf swing. And today you're going to find that many of them, even the guys that are now would be over 50 years old and are playing the Champions Tour, or had played the Champions Tour, and now they're announcers, and they all learned back and been playing golf over 40 years. They've been doing what? 30 years actually now. They were all taught higher hands in the backswing, head still throughout the swing until impact, stand up in a very level finish. And yet now you hear them talking about what? You hear them talking about big turns, and the plane being over here with the club, and which is now laid off. You hear them talking about finishing where they chase the back shoulder to the target and finish with the shoulder at the target, so that means their belt buckle and chest is 50, 80 yards to the left, and they're talking that because why? That's what's basically out there. And if you heard me say, probably 98% of most golf instruction you're going to read and you're going to hear about is the rotational golf swing, not the vertical swing. That's why we're in the minority. And And my goal is to help get this message out to the world again and get them back to more high hands, vertical, less turn, and exactly what it is, because I've done the research. I've got the biomechanical studies to show it. And the surge swing is not only the most consistent swing, it's also the most body-friendly swing, because it's 100% in conformity with physics and physiology. And when God created your body, He didn't create it to defy physics. And I guess the most simple thing we can say to prove that is, you hold the club here. Which club am I going to hold up longer, this one or this one? And everybody always gets it right, and I say, why? And they come back and say, because it's light. Why is it light? It's because it's in harmony with gravity. Over here, the club falls back there. Over here, it falls straight down. And I've said it many, many, many times. Golf is like life. What goes around, comes around, right? So if I go deep in the sacred burial ground this way, I'm going to come out and go back into it in the sacred burial ground deep on that side. And conversely, what goes up comes straight down, and it's much easier to swing right back up again, because that bodies in motion stay in motion in the direction of put in motion. So if I go up, I come down, and it's easier to swing straight in line. All right. So with that, the point is always keep an open mind, and then start saying as Craig said, we got to be able to distinguish between the flowers and the BS. We've got to open your mind and say, does this conform with physics? Does this conform with the way my body is designed to swing and swings the most efficiently and consistently? And when you do that, you get the right answers, and you know it'll always bring you back to the surge swing, the 3/4 limited turn vertical swing that looks like this. And you'll hit it more solid and straight to help you shoot those lower scores. Well, that's it for today from the surge. And it's okay to analyze, but do your analysis and make your decisions on what you're hearing. Is it the right way to swing a golf club? And you know you get that on this site, swingsurgeon.com. Well, that's it for today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.